My name is Monday Neme from Clever Developers. Today we are going to create login and registration form in Android Studio. We are going to add splash screen to it. Let's start. We are going to create a new project. As you open I would like you to open your Android Studio, create a new project. In a new project, click on empty activity. Name it login registration with splash screen. Login registration with splash screen. Let me just check something. We are using empty activity. The name is login registration with splash screen. We click on finish. We wait for the graduate to finish building. So let's check if it has finished. It's still building. Let me close my previous activity. It has built successfully. So we are going to create another activity. This activity we'll create an empty activity and call it login activity. Remember your language to be on Java because I'm using the latest Android Studio. Login activity. Click finish. Let's create another activity. Again, go to activity, new activity, empty activity. We'll call this one register activity. Ensure that your language is Java because we have Android Studio support Java and Kotlin. So we'll call it as register activity. We'll click finish. I just want us to create all the activity that we needed in the tutorial. So let's create another activity, which is the splash screen activity. Still use empty activity because it's advisable you use empty activity. It makes things easier when you start from the scratch to write your code and using predefined codes or predefined layout. So click on finish. Splash activity, click on finish. Now we'll start our work in the main activity. The main activity.xml. So let's go to our res folder, resources folder, layouts. We'll go to main activity. Click on split to view the code and the layout all together. On the main activity, change it to linear layout because it's easier when you are using a linear layout. Linear layout make things easier. So we change the orientation to vertical. Now we need in this main activity we need a text view. We set it as match parents, wrap content. Then the text will be Let me just name it Clever Developers. Let's just consider that the app is for Clever Developers channel. So let's make the text orientation to be center, so that the text should come to the center. If you check it, you can see that the text is in center. Let's increase the text size. Let's increase it to 20 sp. Text style, let's make it bold. Text style bold. Text color. Now let's just go to our color file and create some color. So let's go to our resources, value, color, and change the color. The primary color should be 6200E. Secondary color, I think this is okay. Let's come back to it. Now color, I want the color of the text to be text color. Let's just leave it for now. Let's bring the text down. Margin top, let's make it 50 dp. Margin top 50 dp. That's alright, 50 dp. Now we want to put an image. As a background. So let's go to our folder to get an image. We are using this image, which is my BG. Click on it, right click it, and copy it. When you copy it, you go to your Android Studio, go to the drawable resource folder, right click it, go to paste, drawable, click the drawable, paste it. You can see it, press OK. Now the image is in the drawable. So now we want to get the image. For us to get the image, we need to use an image view. So let's create an image view. Which is let's make the width to be 350 dp. The width 350 dp. The height, let's make the height to be 297 dp. Let's close it. Now let's make margin left. Let's first of all reference the image. So we'll write source. You can see it, drawable my. If you can't see it, you just write drawable and you will see all the things that are in drawable folder. You can see my BG, which is also here. So you just click on enter and get it. So you can see our image. Now our image is ready. Let's try to put things in order. Let's make margin left 20 dp. Margin left 20 dp. The way it is as if it's normal. Now I want us to create two buttons. We are going to create two buttons. But those two buttons is going to be in a linear layout so that things will be well organized. So let's create linear layout. Match parents, wrap content, orientation, Orientation should be vertical. Now in the linear layout, that's where we create the button. Let's create two buttons. The button should be match parents, wrap contents. Let's close it up. Now this button is going to be login button, which will lead us to the login activity. Let's copy and duplicate it. We'll duplicate it and get the registration button. Registration button will be the registration button. Now we need to resize these things. We don't need it to cover the whole point, to cover everywhere. Don't want it to cover everywhere, so we are going to work on the linear layout that holds the two buttons, because anything we do on the linear layout affect the two buttons. Maybe the width, maybe the way it covers the whole width, we don't want it to be so. So we are going to say padding should be 20 dp. You can see it's getting proper. Let's say margin left, let's make it 40 dp. Margin left, let me check it again. Okay, margin left, so we have margin left. Let's create margin right 40 dp. Margin right 40 dp. We are beginning to resize it properly. Now we want to make the button in such a way that it should not be so closer to itself. So we come to the registration button and say margin top 20 dp. Margin top 20 dp. You can see it that is now properly arranged. It's no longer close to the up button. Now we want to design our button, give a background, and also make it a round button. So what we are going to do now, we are going to create a round button background. So how are we going to create a round button background? Let's go to the drawable resources. On the drawable resources, new. Let me start again so that you understand. You go to the drawable, you right click it, new drawable. Open the drawable resources. Let's name it as rounded btn. This one will be for register button, rounded btn reg. We press OK. So the rounded button, we want the rounded button to have a color of another color, which is blue color. So what we are going to do, we are going to change this selector to shape, and we'll create another one. I'll create the shape to be rectangle. The shape is now rectangular. Now we want to create solid. We'll now create another solid inside and make the color. We want the color to be D#D3 Let's check how it is. No, I'm not getting the right color. This is the login color. The color I want to use for the login button. So I will say FF6 F6F3 B5 A5 mean you can see the way the color is now. So want to create corner. Let's say the corner radius should be 100 dp. You can see we have gotten a particular shape. So we are going to call this button as the background of the registration button. But let's create another one for login button. Let's right click it on the drawable folder, new drawable resource. Let's call it rounded btn login and press OK. So let's just to save our time, let's copy all this one and go to the login button and paste it. So now we just need to change the color because the color will not be the same. This one color is going to be gray. So let's remove the color. Let's call it, this is the color we are writing on the first time in the other login rounded button, in the registration rounded background. So let's name this one D3 D0DD. You can see it's now a gray color. We are now going to the we will now come to the main activity and reference it and make it the background. So we'll say background for the login. We'll call the login drawable login round btn login. You can see the color now and you can see the shape. We'll come to the registration button. We'll create a background. We'll come to it. If you check it here, this is a rounded btn reg. You can see the color has changed. Now I just want us to be able to see what we have created. So let's give a background, the whole main activity background as pure white, so that we can see it very well. You cannot see our work is not proper. If we run our app, let's just run it and see the way it is. Let's run it and see the way it is. Still running. Let's just be patient. Sometimes it's like that. Depend on the type of system that we are using. So the device has come up. So you see that it has finished running, waiting for target device to come online. It's booting. So it will now install. Let's see the way it is. You can see the way it is. So now we need to, I don't want to see the action bar. So let's remove the action bar. So we'll go to style and say no action bar. So let's rerun it. Let's rerun it again and see if the action bar has been removed. You can see that the action bar has been removed. You can see our main activity is now properly designed. So now what I want us to do is that when we click on, I want us to be able to create the login activity and create the registration activity, and whenever we click on the login and the registration, when we click on the register, to lead us to the registration activity. When we click on the login activity, to lead us to the login activity. So now I just want us to redesign this button. I need the registration button the text to be white, while this one remain black. So let's go to the main activity again. Let's come to the registration button. Say text color I'll just use triple F. You can see that it's now white. Let me make the text color of this one, the text color of the login button, to be pure black. You can see the way it is. Let's rerun it and see the way our app will now be. You can see the way it is now. It's now okay. I hope you are enjoying it. So let's go to, we need to create our registration and the login activity. So let's go to it and create it. So let's split it to code and design. So we are going to create, first of all, let's create the login activity. The login activity. So on the login activity, up here, let's make it linear layout. Let's make it linear layout. Orientation. The orientation should be vertical. Orientation should be vertical. So now we need to create our button, but before then, let's create a text. Let's create a text to name it as login, so that anyone that visits the activity will know it's a login activity. The weight is match parent. The orientation, the height is wrap content, while the text will be login. Text is login. Now I want this text, the size of this text to be at least 20. Sorry for that. Text size, I want the text size to be 20 XP. So it will now be big a little. The size will now increase a little. So let's make text color. Let's just make it black. Text style, bold. Text alignment, center. Margin top, let's make it 50 dp. Margin top should be 50 dp. Is now okay now. So now we need to create our login, our edit text where user can enter email and password. Now how do we create it? Let's create a linear layout that should embed all of them. Let's make it match parents wrap content. Match parents wrap content. Inside the linear layout, we are going to create our edit text. The edit text will be match parents wrap content. The text inside, let's just make it hints. We just make the hints. I'll just say clever developers at gmail.com. cleverdevelopers at gmail.com. Now let's make text color to be, I want the text color to be black. We're able to see it. This is the edit text. Let's make background. We have our, let's use our BTN login background, which is gray color. Now this our this our edit text, we need to make the padding to be 10. Padding, let's make the padding to be 10. So let's create another one for this is for email. Let's create another one for password. Let's just copy and paste. Let's make orientation of the linear layout orientation to be vertical, so we can see the way it is now. Let's make the margin top for the password to be 20, so that it should separate from each other. 20 dp, so that it should separate from each other. Now we don't need it to cover the whole page, and we don't need it to be so close to the login. We don't need it to be so close to the login text view. So we'll say margin top for the linear layout. The linear layout margin top, will make margin top to be 120 dp, and we'll make padding to be 20 dp. Padding should be 20 dp, while it's not still okay the way it is for me. I don't know for you, you decide the way you want it. So I'll make margin right 20 dp, margin left 20 dp. So this is the way I want it now. Now the password now. Password is supposed not to be visible to the user when user is entering it. So the password now, I'll just put asterisk throughout. So let me just use asterisk star throughout. But now the way it is not beautiful. We need vector asset to be in the text view. But before we create the vector asset, let's create a button. The button match parents, wrap contents. So the button, the way we are going to design the button, we say the button should be margin top should be, so that it should be separated. It should a little bit separate from the edit text. The margin top should be 35 dp. Is now a little bit separated. Now background, I want the background for this button to be blue. I want it to be blue, so I will use the background to be btn. Now this one is I want it to be btn reg, so it's now blue. So text, sorry for that, text will be login. Text will be login. I want the color, the text color to be, I want text color to be what? No, not so. Text color to be white. So I'll use a code for the white. So now I need another thing, but before then let me check the way it is. I need another text view under this button, so that if user have not registered, the user need to go to the registration activity. So we'll call it text view match parents, wrap content. The text should be don't have account, register. Don't have account, register. Now the text should be aligned to center. Text alignment should be center. Margin top this text. Imagine top should be 25 dp. Now the text color, I want the text color to be same as, to be blue. So our text color will say #FF 6F 35 A5. So it's now blue. So now we want to put a vector asset so that to indicate if the user cannot be convinced by the right of inside, the user can be convinced by the vector asset that this is for email and this is for password. So let's go to the drawable resources, new vector assets. We need vector asset for email. Vector asset for email. Now let's just change the color. The reason why I have a reason for changing the color, just change it to any color for now so that we can change it. If you don't do it like this, you will not be able to change the color whenever you need it. So change the color. Let's create another drawable resource. Let's just reference it out. Drawable left, email. Drawable left should be email. Drawable left is email. Now I want to change the color. We need the color to be same as, to be blue. So we know that our text editor, our text view below has this color. So we'll copy the color. We'll go to the drawable, go to email, the asset, or go to this color here and change it. I just copy and paste it. I copied it from here, and I came to this place and paste it here for the color to change. So now if we go to it now, it's now changed, but it's very close. It's too close to this right top. So what are we going to do now? We don't want it to be so close. So we'll say padding left. Let's make it like this. Drawable padding 20 dp. You can see that it has shifted a while. So we need the same thing for password. So we click on the drawable again, new vector assets. Just write lock so that a padlock will come out which represent password. Let's just try to change the color to anything so that we'll be able to change color when we like it. So we'll come to the password area and say drawable left is lock that we use for it. That the name is lock. You can see it. You may not be able to see it properly. Let's go to the drawable and click on the lock and change the color again. We change the color so we're able to have it to be the same color like the one of the email edit text. So now what we are going to do is that we also need it to shift a while. This asterisk, this star should be able to shift away from the lock. So we say drawable padding 20 dp. You can see that it has shifted a while. So we're able to create our registration, our login page. So now we want to create our registration page. We want to create our registration page. For us to create our registration page, it will be very easy now that things will now look somehow easy, because what we are going to do, we'll just be able to copy some things. We'll copy some things from another page, from the login page to the registration page. So let's just copy everything, highlight everything, and copy it. Go to registration page, light, Ctrl V and paste it. So we just need to change this login to register. So we change this text. This text now, we are going to change this text to register. We're going to change this text. We have changed it to register. So now, when somebody is registering, at least the person need to enter name, not only email address and password. So let's copy this. Let's copy this email, the email edit text. We'll copy the email edit text, come up and paste it. So we change this one to name. You know that we are not writing name, we'll just write name of a person. Let's just put it as John Doe, or let's just name it as John Smith. Now our vector assets don't need to be the same as the email vector asset. And also the margin, let's create this one as margin bottom 20 dp, so that it will shift a while from the email edit text. But we need to change it. We need to change this vector asset from email format, the way it is in email. We need to change the vector asset. Sorry for that. We need to change the vector asset so that it should be as person, so that the person registering will be able to know that you need to enter name. So what we do, go to drawable resources, new drawable, vector assets, click on the vector, just write person. Let's use this one. Click OK. We know that it is person. Let's just change the color to any color so that we can change it to our desired color. We choose it, click next. Now we want to change the color. We want to change the color of the vector asset. We'll copy this color, which is in form of blue, which is blue color. We'll now go to the name vector, the name. We want to change the vector asset to represent, for the person to know that you need to enter name. So we'll call it as person. You can see that, you can see the way it is. Let's go to the color. The color is not the same as others. So let's go to drawable person and change the color. The color is now blue. So you can see that the color is now blue. We're able to create our registration activity. Now, there's something that you need to notice here, that here we don't need to say don't have account. We need to say already registered. If the user is already registered, then the user should log in, should click here to go to login activity. So now once the user click here, it will lead the user to login activity. Now we have successfully created our registration activity. Now there's something that remains. We need to create our we need to create our splash screen. Remaining our splash screen. So let's go to the splash screen. How are we going to create our splash screen? Let's just take a look at something on our login screen. The login screen, we need an image view. Remember that you need an image view, this image, to be on the login screen. So let's go to the login screen and reference this image. We need the image to be on the login screen. Okay, I think the image is only on the main page, and is only on the main page, on the main activity, which once after the splash screen, it will lead you to this place. On this place, you now click in order for you to go to login and registration activity. So it's on the splash screen that we need the image now. So let's create our splash screen. And normally I like using linear activity because linear activity is user friendly, is beginner friendly. Let's make the background to be white. Let the background be white. So we create our image. I just need some text to be on it, some text. So let me create some text. The text should be match parents, wrap content. Now orientation for the linear layout should be vertical. The text, I want the text to be called, I'll just write it as welcome to Clever Developers. Welcome to Clever Developers. I want the text color to be, the text color, let me make the text color as 33737B3. I don't like the way the color is. I don't like it. Text color should be 37. Let me come again. 3700B3. Let me see how this color is. Yes, it's okay. So now the text alignment should be center. Text size should be bold. Text size should be 20 SP, which show that welcome to Clever Developers. Margin top, I want the margin top to be 35 dp is okay. I need another text. Remember that this one is very, very important. You will see it. I would like you to see. It's very, very important to me, and it's an information that I want to pass to you guys. So let me make the text to be, the text color to be, I want the text color of this one to be red. I want it to be red. While the text size, let the text size, I don't want it to be too much, to be too big. Let it just be 15 XP. Let it be bold. Now let me write my information which I want you guys to see. not so. How will you see me here? I need it, please, please, please. I'm begging, please. I really appreciate you if you do so. Let me zoom in for you to see the text. Please subscribe to support me. Thanks a lot. So on the welcome page, this is what will be on the splash screen. This is what will be displayed. So now let me create our image view. Let me make it match parents wrap content. Source of this image is BG, drawable BG. So this is our image. Now this image margin top, the margin top, I want it to be 90 dp. Let me minimize it and see the way it is. You can see that it's very okay now. So now what we are going to do now, we have done our splash screen activity. I want to go to the main activity so that whenever we come to this main activity and we click on this login button and this register button, to be able to lead us to the login activity and registration activity. So let's give it an ID so that we'll be able to reference it. An ID should be btn login. An ID for this one, the registration button should be btn register. You can name it anyhow you want it, but I follow this format in order for me to know what it means, that this is button for registration and this button is for login, which will lead us to login activity and the registration activity. So now we have given it an ID, we can now reference it. So let's go to the registration activity first, and we need to call the button. Let's call it private. No, we are not using we'll go to the main activity. Is the main activity. The main activity will say private btn button login. Also call for the register button register. Sorry for this bad spelling. Button register. So now we need to reference it. So let's reference it. So say button login is equal to find view by id arrow.id.btn login, so that when we click we'll be able to go to login activity. Let's do likewise for the registration button, which is equal to find view by id arrow.id.btn register. So we need to set an on-click method to it. So let's say btn button login dot set on-click listener, new on-click listener, start activity, new intent, main activity dot this, and login activity dot class. So this will be able to lead us to login activity. So let's come and create for the register button. So say btn register dot set on click listener, new on click listener, start activity, new intent, main activity dot this, then register activity dot class. That will lead us to registration activity. Now Let's just run our app and see the way it is. Still running. This is a former build that we ran before. We don't have splash screen yet. So now if I click on login activity, lead me to login. I'll go back from here, click on register activity, lead me to registration activity. You can see this is a login page and this is the registration page. So now the next thing we need here is our splash screen. So let's see how the splash screen activity is. So once the user open the app, the splash screen should display to the user before the user will be able to be navigating between the login and the registration activity. So what we are going to do now, we'll go to the splash screen activity. We have already set the XML file. We have set the XML activity, the XML write up for the splash screen activity. Now we need to write the Java code so that the splash screen activity will be able to work. So how are we going to write it? So let's write our code for the splash screen. So this is what we are going to write. We will come to this point. We are going to come to this point and write get window dot set flags. This flag will carry two params. The first one will be window manager dot layout params, dot flash flag underscore full screen. Another param will be window manager dot layout param dot flag underscore full screen. So these are the things, the two params that this get window function will carry. So what again that we need to do? We would have write a code like this: get support action bar. If you check in another tutorial that you used to see on the internet, you see get support action bar dot hide. But if I write this code, it will lead to error. Why? Because if you come to this point now, this star, I set my no action bar. Already there is no action bar, so there is nothing to hide again. If you try it, your app will definitely crash. So here, this code, we don't need it because we have set no action bar. So we don't need it. So the next thing that we need now is that we need to create another class again. We need to create another class. We'll create a class. We say private class. Let's just call it logo launcher. You can name it anything you like. Logo launcher extend thread. Then inside we say public void run. public void run, public void run as a function. This class that we are creating here, we are going to set it to the onCreate activity, so that whenever the onCreate activity, once you open the app, the onCreate activity will call the class, and the class will call this function, for this function to call the splash screen to work. Anyhow it need to be delayed, we'll set the time for it to be delayed, because splash screen is simply a screen that is pop-up and display some information over a period of time, maybe a second or a minute. It cannot be an hour, unless if you want to drive away your customer from your apps. So once the onCreate activity is called, it will call this class here, and this class will call this function to run the splash screen to delay it for a period of time. So in that case, we'll create a little function called sleep, and this sleep will carry, how long do we want it to delay? The time, let's set it as 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 minute, which is just 1 minute. So you can see that there is an error. We need to surround it with try cache block. So surround it with try cache block in case if there is any error. So we'll come out from the try cache block and set that once this activity delay for 1 minute, after delaying it for 1 minute, what do you want it to do? We want it to start our main activity. So we say start activity splash start activity, sorry for that, new intent splash activity dot this, then main activity dot class. So let me finish. Once I finish, I will re-explain my code again. My aim is that for you to really understand. But there's one thing I want you to know. You can see that onCreate activity, I wrote this our window full screen before the onCreate layout activity, so that there should be nothing to display again. It should be the first thing to be called before this onCreate layout activity. So now after this one is called and it comes to this one and call this one, the next thing we want our splash screen to be called. Now this one enable it to be a full screen, So now once it passes this one, it will now come and call our splash screen. So we want for it to call our splash screen, this class that is being created here, we need to bring it to this onCreate method. So we say we'll create, what was the name, is a logo launcher. We want to call the instance, we want to initialize it here because it's a class. So we need to call the instance of the class. Logo launcher is equal to new logo launcher, then logo launcher dot start. So now this code now, once you open the app, it's going to make it to have a full screen, then it will pass the onCreate layout and come to the logo launcher. Now when the onCreate layout, when it makes the screen to be full, you call the onCreate layout when you call the onCreate layer will now display our image. It will now display our image and everything here. When you display everything there now, you now call this logo launcher here, which we have created a class for it. When it call it, it will delay it for some time, like which is 1 minute. After delaying it for 1 minute, once 1 minute pass, it will open the main activity. It will go to the main activity. So that is the way it is. But I just want it to delay for like 3 minutes. So what I will do is that I'll come here, I'll create private integer sleep. I'll call it sleep timer. Sleep timer is equal to 3. So now inside here now, I'll now multiply this 1000 millisecond, which is this 1 minute, by the sleep timer. So it will now be multiplied by 3, meaning that it will delay it for 3 minutes. To delay it for 3 seconds. Come on. This should be 3 seconds. Sorry for the wrong explanation. It's 3 seconds. So now, how are we going to make our launcher? If you run this app again now, just watch. If you run it again, you can see that the launcher activity is not working. It's not here. How do we make it to work? We'll go to our manifest file, manifest XML. We are going to take this intent filter. We are going to cut it from here, from the main activity, and come to the splash screen activity and paste it. So let's run our app again and see what will happen. You can see it is working properly. Let's just run it. It's fun to accomplish a little thing in Android like this. I want you to know that it used to be wonderful for you to be able to accomplish little thing in Android, because building app is not, you cannot just build a standard app within 1 day or within 2 days. So this is how you start everything from small. You can see that there's an error here that we don't want to go back to the splash screen. We don't want us to be able to be going back to the splash screen if we click back. So we'll go to our splash screen activity, come down and say that we'll just say, let me change this code so that we don't want it to be going back. So let's just cancel this thing and write it like this. Let's write it this way. Intent another intent is equal to new intent splash screen activity dot this, then main activity dot class, then start activity intent. Now we say splash activity dot this dot finish. So let's watch the changes that we just made. So let's try to go back. If it will go back, you can see that it cannot go back to the splash screen activity again, because there is nothing like that for you to be able to go back to splash screen activity. There is no app, any app that is like that. The developers are not experienced. So you can see we have successfully created our login and registration, our beautiful login and registration form with splash screen. So I promise to make the source code for this available for you. Thank you for watching.